In the midst of the dissensions over leadership, Congress Working Committee meeting underway. In her opening remarks, Sonia Gandhi offers to quit from the post of party president. Meeting sees criticism over a letter written by 23 Congress leaders that called for change in leadership. Flip-flops in the CWC meet play out on Twitter. Senior Congress leader Kapil Sibal deletes his tweet alleging Rahul Gandhi accused Congress leaders of colluding with the BJP after Randeep Surjewala clarifies that Rahul Gandhi hasn't said a word of his nature or alluded to it. PM CARES Fund Trust allocates funds for establishment of 500-bed COVID-19 makeshift hospitals at Patna and Muzaffarpur in Bihar. Hospital in Bihta, Patna inaugurated. Union Minister and MP from Patna Sahib, Ravi Shankar Prasad, thanks Prime Minister Modi for his concern for Bihar. The flood situation in Bihar continues to remain grim, with over 83 lakh people in 16 districts affected. Uttar Pradesh also faces flood fury and state government sets 2,000 relief camps for the affected people. Heavy rains inundated low-lying areas of Gujarat and Madhya Pradesh. Prime Minister Narendra Modi leads the nation in paying tributes to former Finance Minister and his friend Arun Jaitley on his first death anniversary. Home Minister Amit Shah too calls him a friend of friends and politician without parallel. Arun Jaitley is remembered as the Finance Minister who pushed through the historic GST reform. Global corona cases, the tally crosses 2.35 lakh. With over 8 lakh fatalities worldwide. US President Donald Trump announces emergency use authorization by the FDA for a convalescent plasma treatment, calls it a historic announcement, claiming 35% reduction in mortality. Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu hosts Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in Jerusalem. Pompeo is on his first visit to the region after signing of the Abraham Accord. Both leaders discuss expanding peace in the region. Namaskar, you're with the latest here on DD News and DD India. I'm Gautam Roy. Well, a crucial meeting of the Congress Working Committee has been underway amid divisions in the party over the leadership issue, with sources indicating that Sonia Gandhi has sought initiation of the process to elect a new party president. The party is divided on the leadership matter, with a section demanding collective leadership and another reposing faith in the Gandhi family. According to sources, interim Congress President Sonia Gandhi has offered to quit. She's asked the Congress Working Committee to initiate the process of selecting a new party chief. In her opening remarks at the meeting, called in the wake of a section of leaders seeking a full-time and visible Congress president, Sonia Gandhi made the offer to quit, saying she had given a detailed reply on the issue to AICC General Secretary K.C. Venugopal. Former Prime Minister Dr. Manmohan Singh, who spoke after Sonia Gandhi, urged her to continue. And so did former Defence Minister A.K. Antony, with both the veterans criticizing the letter by some party leaders, including Ghulam Nabi Azad, Anand Sharma, Mukul Wasing, among others, who are part of the CWC, the party's highest decision-making body. Sources also said Rahul Gandhi criticized the letter by some leaders, questioning its timing. And it's also turned out to be a day of flip-flops from the Congress leaders, as reports emerged that some senior Congress leaders raised a banner of revolt against the leadership. In an interesting turn of events, senior Congress leader Kapil Sibal was seen first attacking Rahul Gandhi and then taking a U-turn on Twitter. Around 1 p.m., Kapil Sibal tweeted that Rahul Gandhi had said some Congress leaders were colluding with the BJP. In an emotional outburst, he added, "Last 30 years have never made a statement in favor of the BJP on any issue. Yet, we are colluding with the BJP." And close on the heels of this tweet, again, Kapil Sibal on Twitter, and before that there was a denial from Randeep Surjewala at 1:30 p.m. He said, and I quote, "Shri Rahul Gandhi hasn't said a word of this nature nor alluded to it. Please don't be misled by false media discourse or misinformation being spread. But yes, we all need to work together in fighting the Modi rule rather than fighting and hurting each other and the Congress. And at 1:47 came Kapil Sibal's U-turn. He tweeted, was informed by Rahul Gandhi personally that he never said what was attributed to him. I therefore withdraw my tweet. Ghulam Nabi Azad, who leads the opposition benches in Rajya Sabha, added to these rounds of clarifications, saying Rahul Gandhi never said that the letter was written in collusion with the BJP, neither in the CWC nor outside. So let's try and understand what is going on and trying to put in context of the larger question that the Congress faces, which is the crisis of leadership. We're going across to Vishal Baristo, who's been tracking the developments in the CWC meeting. Vishal, what do you make of what has been happening through the day ever since the opening remarks by Sonia Gandhi and what has followed later on with those interesting bits of information about what Rahul Gandhi said and didn't say?
Well, a very good evening to you, Gautam. Whatever we are gathering, it is all virtual, whether it is the meeting, CWC meeting, or the breaking that is coming out. We are only gathering from the tweets. Now, if you carefully analyze the tweets of first Kapil Sibal, the second tweet of Kapil Sibal, then Surjewala, followed by the latest from Ghulam Nabi Azad, they are all on the same lines that we have nothing against Rahul Gandhi. So the Congress party, I think, is more into the damage control mode rather than deciding as to who would take on the reins of the party. But it is very much clear that 23 senior leaders of the party, they have shown their dissent against Rahul Gandhi. Sonia Gandhi is ill. She is unable to continue. They want a leader who is visible and who's all the time available as far as the leader is concerned. So it is going to be a very difficult choice. But the big question is, if you have to choose somebody who's not from the Gandhi family. Now we are, it's a hypothetical situation. If we are discussing Sonia Gandhi is ill, Rahul Gandhi is not acceptable, then who? Priyanka Gandhi is nowhere in the picture. So is the party ready to accept anybody or somebody who is not from the Parivar? Then it is going to be a big challenge for the party, because party has seen that whenever they had a leader before Sonia Gandhi took over the reins, Sitaram Kesri, and what happened to the party, and whether the leader who is a non-Gandhi would be acceptable to the party, pan-India, to the party supporters. Now it's going to be a very difficult choice for the party, and that is why this whole meeting is all about. But right now, it seems that the party is into a damage control mode. Senior party leaders tweeting, then withdrawing their tweets. Now it's going to be, it is quite a mockery that Congress leaders have made of themselves, and it is a very difficult, it would be very difficult for them to face the media and at the same time the opposition, because BJP is going to be very hard, come very hard on the Congress party. They have always been saying that Congress party is nothing but a family for fortune. This is what the allegation that has been coming from different leaders of the BJP, especially to be very specific. So it is going to be a very difficult time for the Congress party. Sonia Gandhi is ill. It's been 15 months now since she took on the reins of the party as interim chief, and now Rahul Gandhi not acceptable to 23 senior leaders of the party. So it's going to be a very difficult, I would say, an uphill task for the Congress party. To be or not to be is the question.
Right. So what the deliberations right now suggest is that there is no alternative that is emerging to any member of the Gandhi family, be it Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi is also being mentioned in all those speculations and talks. So in such a scenario, when the party members who want to change are unable to look beyond the Gandhis themselves, what is everyone really talking about?
Well, Gautam, if you look at the letter that has been written by the 23 leaders, it is very much an open opposition to Rahul Gandhi's leadership, because the party has seen two back-to-back defeats, 2014 and 2019, and they need a leader who speaks especially Hindi properly. This is what some of them have been saying in the media reports, that they need a leader who can, address to the voters, to the public, to the people, and who is acceptable to the country at large as the party leader when we talk about the Congress supporters. But the big question is now how to go about it, because they have already written their opposition against Rahul Gandhi. Sonia Gandhi is ill. So what do we do now? All the Congress ruling states, they have already said that they want somebody from the Gandhi family. Somebody means Sonia Gandhi, and Ashok Gehlot or Baghel or Amrinder Singh. They are all for the leader from within the Gandhi family. But is there an
yeah,
option?
but Vishal, if you look at what the letter itself says, and
interim arrangement, she is not going.
If you look at what the letter itself says, it seems that without naming her, it's being suggested that maybe Priyanka Gandhi could be an alternative. But the 23 leaders who've written the letter do not make the Congress. Even if you look at the reports that are coming out of the CWC meeting, it only gets murkier.
Well, it only gets murkier. You've said it correctly, Gautam, because Sonia Gandhi said that she has, it was an interim arrangement. Rahul Gandhi has already resigned. Priyanka Gandhi is nowhere in the picture, because if you remember, before the Lok Sabha elections, it was being said that Priyanka Gandhi might be launched. She might take on the reins of the party, which did not happen. So I think it's already too late, even if they somehow say that, okay, now let's have Sonia Gandhi. I beg your pardon, Priyanka Gandhi. So even if you have, somehow reach on conclusion that, okay, now unanimous decision that we should have Priyanka Gandhi, then also it is very much clear that Rahul Gandhi has been rejected by the party. Now that is going to cost the party very dearly, because Rahul Gandhi was the face of the party, Sonia Gandhi was the interim arrangement, Rahul Gandhi was seen as the Gen X, as the leader who would continue with the legacy of the Gandhis. And now if his sister is asked to step in, then definitely the rejection mark would be stamped forever on Rahul Gandhi, and that is going to cost the party hugely, because now you'll be having elections in Bihar. RJD is also not doing very well. They also have their problems there. So it's a big challenge for the party as to how they go for the damage control first, then reach on a conclusion, then somehow convince Sonia Gandhi, okay, please continue. It is going to be a very difficult task for Congress, but as far as Rahul Gandhi is concerned, he has been in a way rejected by the senior leaders of the party, and that is going to be a big challenge for Rahul Gandhi himself to prove his leadership.
Let's see what happens, because right now, even if some leaders and very senior leaders might be rejecting Rahul Gandhi, they are yet to come up with any sort of an alternative, which is perhaps an even more necessary thing to do than perhaps just a simple demand for change. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment. All right, now BJP leader Jyotiraditya Scindia has refused to comment on the Congress's internal bickering and developments in the CWC meeting. He termed this as Congress's internal matter. He was speaking on the sidelines of a membership drive program in Gwalior today.
ये कांग्रेस का अंदरूनी मामला है। अब मैं भारतीय जनता पार्टी का सदस्य हूं। कांग्रेस जो करे वो कांग्रेस की अंदरूनी बात है, जिस पर मैं टिप्पणी नहीं करूंगा।
Scindia, while addressing BJP workers in Gwalior earlier, slammed the Congress for spreading corruption and urged the people to choose development done by the trio of Shivraj, Narendra Singh Tomar and himself. Now, Madhya Pradesh Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has reacted on the developments in the CWC meeting and said that the Congress's future is in darkness and that nobody can save such a party. He said that the person who speaks the truth is a traitor for the Congress, and those who are sycophants are the only faithfuls according to that party.
The Congress तो दुर्गति की तरफ है। कांग्रेस में लट्ठम मची हुई है। कांग्रेस का भविष्य अंधकारमय है, क्योंकि देश और प्रदेश का भविष्य उन्हें अंधकारमय किया। कांग्रेस में सच बोलने वाले को गद्दार कहा जाता है। जब सिंधिया जी ने आवाज उठाई तो वो भाजपा से मिले हुए हो गए, उन पर आरोप लगा दिए गए। और आज जब गुलाम नबी आजाद और कपिल सिब्बल जैसे नेताओं ने आवाज उठाई कि पूर्णकालिक अध्यक्ष चाहिए, तो उनको कह दिया कि वो भाजपा से मिले हुए हैं। ऐसी पार्टी को कोई नहीं बचा सकता।
And BJP leader Uma Bharti has slammed the Congress's leadership with regard to the CWC meeting, saying that there is no credible face left in the opposition and the BJP is ready to help the Congress build up its leadership.
विपक्ष पूरी तरह से गायब हो गया है, आज उनके यहाँ कोई बचा नहीं है। तो ऐसी स्थिति में कभी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है। हम सब लोग, हमारी सरकार की विचारधारा है, उसमें से हमारा एक साधारण सा किसी वार्ड लेवल का कार्यकर्ता भी राहुल और उनकी बहन से तो बेहतर ही होगा।
Let's now move on and get you an update from the flood and rain situation from across the country as well. Well, the flood situation in Bihar remains grim, with several rivers still flowing above the danger level. This has resulted in heavy water discharge from the Gandak and Kosi barrages. The Ganga is also flowing above the danger mark in many places. More than 83 lakh people in 16 districts of the state are still affected by the floods. Relief work is on at full swing as 26 teams of NDRF and SDRF have been engaged, while boat ambulances have also been introduced in Khagaria to treat animals living in stagnant waters. In Uttar Pradesh, 1,090 villages in 16 districts have been affected by the floods. Rivers Sharda, Rapti and Saryu are flowing above the danger mark. Meanwhile, the Chief Minister has instructed district magistrates to provide materials through boats in flood-affected areas. 15 teams of the NDRF and 7 teams of the SDRF and PAC have also been deployed in flood-affected districts for rescue measures. And heavy rains inundated low-lying areas in several parts of Madhya Pradesh as well. The Met Department has issued a red alert for heavy rains in western parts of the state, including Bhopal, Indore and Sehor. Due to the increase in water levels, barrage gates are being opened from time to time. The state government has issued instructions to the district collectors to set up 24-hour disaster relief teams, while Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan has directed district collectors to remain in constant contact for quick relief measures. Heavy rainfall has also been lashing several parts of Gujarat. Saurashtra and Kutch have been receiving widespread rainfall, while the Machu Dam at Morbi has overflowed, leading to the opening of 12 gates of the dam. A number of tehsils in the district have received heavy rains, with villages being submerged in rainwaters. A bridge connecting Morbi and Jamnagar has also collapsed, cutting off road transportation between districts. One NDRF team has been deployed in each tehsil, and primary schools are being converted into relief centers. Rajkot has also been receiving incessant rainfall, leading to water logging in several areas since Sunday morning. Over 1,000 people have been rescued after flood waters entered homes in Jangaleshwar area. The local administration has appealed to people to stay away from flood waters. And incessant rains resulted in waterlogging in North Gujarat districts of Patan, Sabarkantha, Mehsana, Aravali and Banaskantha as well. World Heritage Site Rani Ka Vav in Patan too witnessed fresh flow of water. Chief Secretary Anil Mukim chaired a meeting on Sunday with officials at State Emergency Centre, Gandhinagar, to review preparedness. With increased rainfall activity during the weekend, a number of dams in Gujarat have got filled up to maximum capacity and have also been put on high alert. 13 NDRF teams have been deployed across the state. The Met Department has predicted heavy to extremely heavy rainfall in many districts till Tuesday morning. And moving on to Hyderabad, as the inflow from upper states has got reduced, the situation is slowly becoming normal. Godavari waters started receding and they've started coming in with the present water level at 41.7 feet in the Bhadrachalam temple town in Bhadradri Kothagudem district of Telangana. Normally, first level of warning will be issued if the water exceeds 43 feet. Just before 48 hours, water level exceeded 65 feet, and most parts of the Sri Ram temple in Bhadrachalam town got inundated. Now the water flow is at the heel level at the back of the temple. All the small rivers, ponds such as Kinneresani and Talperu and rivulets are overflowing. Patna Member of Parliament Ravi Shankar Prasad has thanked Prime Minister Modi for allocating funds for 2 major COVID-19 hospitals for Patna as well as Muzaffarpur under the PM CARES funds. The 500-bed hospitals will have 125 ICU beds with ventilators and will be constructed in accordance with the DRDO. These hospitals, earlier today, the PM announced the same in a series of tweets. In a review meeting on the 11th of August, the Prime Minister had noted that 10 states, including Bihar, account for over 80% of the country's active COVID-19 cases and asserted that if the virus is defeated in these states, then the country will emerge victorious in its fight against the pandemic.
DRDO के द्वारा पटना और मुजफ्फरपुर में 500 बेड का एक अस्पताल बहुत ही जल्दी बनाया जाएगा, जिसमें सभी बेड्स पे ऑक्सीजन भी होंगे और दोनों जगह 125 बेड का आईसीयू भी बनेगा, इंटेंसिव केयर यूनिट। वहाँ डॉक्टर्स होंगे, बाकी सुविधाएं होंगी और आर्म फोर्सेस मेडिकल सर्विस कोर के द्वारा इसको मैनेज किया जाएगा। तो ये बहुत ही बड़ा सहयोग है जो प्रधानमंत्री जी ने पीएम केयर फंड से व्यवस्था कराई है।
BJP's workers staged a protest demonstration outside the assembly premises in Thiruvananthapuram demanding the resignation of Chief Minister Pinarayi Vijayan. Senior BJP leader O. Rajagopalan along with the party's state president K. Surendran and others took part. They were later arrested and removed by the police. Now Prashant Bhushan has we're still getting you those pictures of the BJP workers protesting in Thiruvananthapuram outside the assembly. Moving on, Prashant Bhushan has refused to give an unconditional apology in the contempt of court case. In a supplementary statement to the Supreme Court, Bhushan said that he expressed himself in good faith not to malign the Supreme Court or any particular Chief Justice, but to offer constructive criticism so that the court can arrest any drift away from its long-standing role as a guardian of the Constitution and custodian of people's rights. He further added that if he retracts his statement before the court or offers an insincere apology, that would amount to the contempt of his conscience and of an institution that he holds in highest esteem. The Supreme Court on the 14th of August held Prashant Bhushan guilty of contempt of court for attempting to scandalize the Supreme Court. Though after the request from Attorney General K.K. Venugopal to not punish Prashant Bhushan, the court gave him an opportunity to offer an unconditional apology before the next hearing. Former Judge of Supreme Court and Head of Delimitation Commission Ranjan Desai today inaugurated the Office of Delimitation Commission in New Delhi. On the occasion, Chief Election Commissioner of India Sunil Arora, Election Commissioners Ashok Lavasa and Sushil Chandra marked their presence. The Office of the Commission has been facilitated with advanced technology to ease working. Delimitation Commission started working since March 2020. The Commission has also ensured proper representation from all states and union territories. Collection of data has been finished by the Commission and a series of meetings will be possible with stakeholders concerned after the inauguration of the office. International news now, and Israeli President Benjamin Netanyahu is hosting U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo in Jerusalem. Pompeo is on his first visit to the region after signing of the Abraham Accord. Both leaders discussed expanding peace in the region. Addressing the media in a joint press conference, Netanyahu expressed his confidence in the U.S.'s role in maintaining peace in the region.
Over 4 decades of peace with Egypt, 2.5 decades of peace with Jordan, the United States stood by that commitment, and I have no doubt that it will continue to do so.
And Mike Pompeo reiterated America's stance that America will ensure that Iran doesn't get hold of nuclear weapons and asserted that it will fulfill its commitment towards both Israel and the Emirates.
President Trump's made clear Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, and we are determined to use every tool that we have to ensure that they can't get access to high-end weapon systems. The Prime Minister spoke to the security commitments that were made. The United States has a legal requirement with respect to qualitative military edge. We will continue to honor that. But we have a 20-plus year security relationship with the United Arab Emirates as well, where we have provided them with technical assistance and military assistance. We will now continue to review that process to continue to make sure that we're delivering them with the equipment that they need to secure and defend their own people from this same threat from the Islamic Republic of Iran as well. We are deeply committed to doing that, to achieving that, and we'll do it in a way that preserves our commitment to Israel as well.
And that's all we have for the moment as far as this bulletin is concerned, but the latest continues right here on DD News and DD India. Stay tuned.